So we're about to dive into this really strange but kind of profound theory about the human soul. It comes from a 19th century Brazilian master, Machado de Assis. And the wild part? This idea, from a story written way back in 1882, might just be the perfect way to understand our own lives today. Okay, let's start with a little thought experiment. I want you to imagine, just for a second, that everything that defines you was suddenly gone. Your job title, your social status, your friends, even your family. Poof, vanished. If you were left completely and utterly alone, would the person you call you still exist?
Well, this story, The Mirror, it introduces us to a man named Jacobina. He's at a party, and he just drops this bombshell during a philosophical debate. He basically says, everybody's got it all wrong. Humans don't have one soul, we have two.
And this gets us to his core concept, the external soul. Now, this isn't some mystical, spooky idea. It's our public reflection. It's the part of us that's built and maintained by how the world sees us. It's a soul that looks from the outside in, confirming that, yep, we are who we think we are.
Think of it like this, right? Your internal soul is your private self, the one looking out at the world. But the external soul, that's the world looking back at you. It's all that social proof, the job, the uniform, the reputation, that gives your inner self a solid form. And according to Jacobina, one can't truly exist without the other.
And what's brilliant here is just how varied this external soul can be. For a character like Shakespeare's Shylock, it was all about his money. For Caesar, it was absolute power. But it can also be something that seems totally trivial, like the opera season for a socialite. Or, as Jacobina says, even a simple button on a shirt that confirms one's place in the world.
Now, to prove this bizarre theory, Jacobina doesn't just give a philosophical argument. Instead, he tells a story from his own life. It's a kind of psychological case study that almost completely destroyed him.
So, picture this. At 25 years old, Jacobina, who is a pretty poor young man, is suddenly made an ensign, or alferez, in the National Guard. In his small town, this is a massive deal. Overnight, he gets this powerful new external soul, his military rank, and, of course, the uniform that goes with it.
He goes to visit his aunt at her isolated farm, and the effect is immediate. No one calls him by his old nickname, João Mazinho. He's only Senor Alferes, the ensign. His aunt, her relatives, even the enslaved people on the farm. Everyone is constantly reinforcing this new public identity.
And this constant reinforcement, this validation of his title, was so powerful that, as Jacobina puts it, the ensign eliminated the man. Just let that sink in. His external soul, this brand new public identity, became so dominant that his private internal self, the man he was before, just sort of faded into the background.
But then, everything falls apart. His aunt has to leave for an emergency. The very next day, he wakes up to find that all the enslaved workers have run away. And just like that, his entire audience is gone. He is utterly and completely alone. And with no one there to reflect his identity back at him, he begins to psychologically unravel.
And this all builds to the story's really terrifying climax, where Jacobina is forced to confront his own reflection, or maybe the lack of one.
After 8 days of this crushing solitude, he forces himself to look into a large, ornate mirror. But what he sees horrifies him. It's not a clear image. He describes it as vague, hazy, diffuse, a shadow of a shadow. It's like, without an external world to validate him, his own reflection has lost its coherence.
He feels like a walking corpse, an automaton. Then, in a moment of sheer desperation, an idea strikes him. He methodically puts on his full ensign's uniform, the whole getup, and when he looks back in the mirror, there he is. His image is sharp, whole, and complete again. The ensign is back.
So what happened? According to Jacobina, the uniform was his external soul. The moment he put it on, the mirror finally had something to reflect. See, it wasn't reflecting the man, it was reflecting the status, the symbol. The uniform gathered his scattered sense of self and made him whole again.
And this is where a 19th century story suddenly becomes unbelievably relevant. Because in our world, we are surrounded by mirrors, and we all wear uniforms of a different kind.
The parallels are just striking, aren't they? The ensign's uniform, that's our LinkedIn job title. The reverence he got from his family is the validation we get from likes on a post. His formal title, Señor Alferez, is our carefully curated online persona. We are constantly seeking our reflection in the digital world.
It really makes you wonder, are we that different from Jacobina? He needed a physical uniform to feel real. Do we now need a digital one? A perfect profile, a certain number of followers, a specific job title to feel that same way?
Which brings us right back to that first question. When you look in the mirror, whether it's a piece of glass or the screen of your phone, what do you see? Is it the internal soul or the external one? And could one even exist without the other?